A Missoula couple is thankful tonight after an afternoon flight took a nightmare turn. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Taylor Winkle. It happened west of Missoula near the Y, just west of Jellystone Campground and north of the interstate in a large grass field just before 11:30 a.m. Our Montana McLaughlin first reported the story on NBCMontana.com. Now she has new reaction from the pilot and his wife. She joins us now from the scene. Montana.
Taylor, the pilot and his wife almost decided to land over on the freeway before they decided to touch down here on the field just behind me. Now the pilot tells me that the entire time he remained calm and was just focused on finding the safest place for them to land. Oil residue drips down the side of Roy Owings' Cessna Skyhawk 2 plane. Taking in the damage, Roy and his wife Judy know how closely they brushed against disaster.
Very thankful that God was watching out for us. Very thankful I have a calm wife.
He asked me, was I okay? And that was after I'd heard the words Mayday come out of his mouth, and that did put me on alert. Just grateful for a good outcome.
Roy and Judy were headed from Missoula to Kalispell for a sunny Friday afternoon. They were about 10 miles north of Evero when Roy felt the engine start to vibrate.
And I started checking things out, and there was no oil pressure. And about that time, the engine started a slight knock, so I turned around and headed back for Missoula.
He opted for the open field when he realized they couldn't make it back.
Something I always do, pretty much constantly, is always keep in mind where am I going to land if it quits.
Roy learned to fly when he was 23, but took some time off in more recent years.
And I had a heart attack in 2010, and part of my rehab was a determination to get my medical certificate back. So when I did that, my wife let me buy an airplane.
Ever since, he's made sure to practice.
I'm very thankful that I have been real diligent about rehearsing this kind of stuff in my mind, and it's almost like clockwork when something like that happens. So that's a good lesson.
He says he'd give himself an A+ landing.
But you could ask my wife, she'd give me a good grade too.
He just did a great job bringing it down.
It might be a while until the Owings get their plane back, but his wife Judy says she'll still hop in a plane with him anytime.
I had complete confidence that he would do the right thing.
Which is just what he did. Now out a little closer to the aircraft, you can still smell the burned rubber. Emergency crews were out there earlier today trying to contain any fluid since it is in an area with some dry grass. Their next step is to transport the plane back to the Missoula airport where they can continue the investigation. We'll continue to follow any new details. Reporting live at Jellystone Fairground near the Y, Montana McLaughlin, NBC Montana.
Thank you, Montana. We looked up the FAA registration info for the plane, and this is what we found out. The plane is a Cessna Model 172M, manufactured in 1974. It's a single-engine, four-seat, fixed-wing plane. Turns out more Cessna 172s have been built than any other type of aircraft, with roughly 43,000 manufactured since first flown in 1955. Well, it's shaping up